I'm Bob Kennard and I'm Managing Director of Graig Producers, which is a collaborative marketing group of organic livestock farmers based here in Mid Wales.
Right, so Bob, can you tell us what Graig Producers are all about and how it started off and what its function is?
Well, we started it about 20 years ago, coming up for. We had a brand, my wife and I developed a brand called Graig Farm Organics, which was basically originally meat and chickens. In fact, there were baby chicks in this very room at one stage. And that developed into other types of meat, and for other types of meat we needed what at the time were really rather strange people, which were organic livestock farmers. And we found a small group of those, so by the mid-90s we had 20 or 30. And then it was very obvious that the supermarkets were going to go into supplying organic meat. So we decided to go proactive. We met Nigel, Elgar, who was farming at the time up in Montgomeryshire, and between us we developed this into a much more proactive group. So we took on originally a part-time manager and then a full-time one. And the idea is that we act, although we're not legally a co-op, we act as if we are one. So we give profit shares to our members every year. You have to be a member to join. We supply you with inputs. We offer you insurance on the abattoirs that we deal with. We lobby for you in all sorts of arenas within the industry and with government. The main thing is we want to try and help you to stay on your farm farming. So collaborative marketing is an important part of that.
So where are your producers?
Across England and Wales. We started here in Mid Wales, but we now have members from Newcastle to Cornwall. Probably 40% in Wales and 60% in England.
And what are the main benefits for farmers? I mean, farmers that have got a handful of sheep up to farmers that have got a few thousand sheep. You're looking after everyone. That's the whole idea about this.
That's the whole point, that the countryside is vibrant because of the mix of sizes of farms that have evolved over the last several hundred years. So we have everything from very large estates with thousands of acres to somebody with just a handful of livestock. And we do the same for the estate as we would do for the small farmer.
Bob, do you want to just say what's happening now? Because your organisation is under threat and you've just launched a campaign. Do you want to just tell us about that?
Yes, we supply a number of abattoirs. One of them is owned by ironically a Dutch farmers co-op called Vion, which is based in Cornwall but has a big abattoir in Merthyr Tydfil and another one on Anglesey. And they informed us that they were going to pay our members directly for the livestock that they were supplied with. I'll start that again, shall I?
So, Bob, who are Vion and what is their role in animal production?
Vion are a very large Dutch-owned meat company that recently bought a number of abattoirs in the UK, which supply people like Tesco with beef and lamb primarily. They have two abattoirs that we use in the borders of North Wales, and they.
And what do they want to do? What do their relationship with you? How does that work? And what are they calling for now?
Right. Well, Vion informed us out of the blue that they had decided that they were going to pay our members directly for their livestock that those farmers supplied to that abattoir. Mm-hmm. Normally it comes through us, we check it, we take off a premium for the insurance that we take out against these abattoirs failing, which is not an uncommon thing in the industry. They've decided that they're going to pay our members directly. We've said we weren't prepared to agree with that because there were so many implications of it, not just on the way that we operate, but it has implications across the whole rural economy. Vion requires farmers now to fill in a 4-page contract, questionnaire, with all sorts of questions about the way they operate their farm, but extraordinarily personal questions like what sort of voluntary organisations do you belong to in your local community? We believe, and our members believe, that's an intrusive thing that's unnecessary, and you have to ask yourself the question, why? Why do they want all this information?
What's going to be the effect for the average farmer member that you've got if Vion decides to go direct to the producers rather than going through you?
Our belief is that they have a plan to use all this mass of data that they hope to collect to then select out a core supply which will almost certainly be the bigger farms, that they can then get the bulk of their supply, and the rest, so that will be the smaller family farms, will find themselves with probably a less beneficial price. They may not even be able to supply direct, they may have to go via markets, and generally we believe this will have a devastating effect, because ultimately then many family farms will have to go out of business. There will be amalgamation of farms, and the result of that will be depopulation in rural areas, especially in the hill areas such as this and around Hay, and all the things that come from rural depopulation, like lack of schools, lack of post offices, and all the other things.
Brilliant. Nigel, you work for Graig Producers. Do you want to just tell us a little bit about the campaign?
Yes, well, actually, originally I was farming for 24 years up in Montgomeryshire, and met Bob at a Royal Welsh show, and we had common interests on marketing and sort of developed the producer group together. I retired from farming a couple of years ago to become full-time in the producer group, more on membership drive, increasing membership, and also on a sort of technical capacity, being a practical farmer.
You obviously strongly believe in producer groups like this one to do what you have done, and you've obviously seen what's happened in the dairy industry, for example, where they started to go direct to processors when the Milk Marketing Board folded up. You've seen that, you've seen the effect of that, and you've seen how dairy farmers got bigger. So what's the implications going to be for your producer members with this proposition by Vion?
Well, as Bob's already said, the idea is, we think the idea is that they will select bigger farmers with preferential trading terms in the short term. We've only got to see what's happened with the milk industry, where that occurred, where farmers were enticed into having arrangements with processors, and then down the line, a few years down the line, then suddenly the screws start to turn and the price goes down. So even in the long term, the bigger producers won't benefit from this payment proposal by Vion. And certainly when I was farming organically, when I started marketing organic livestock, I was probably one of the larger farmers, farming over 1,000 acres of hill land. But actually, I saw the benefits of collaborative marketing. It wasn't just for the smaller guy, it's actually important for the bigger guy. The strength of marketing together is better than marketing alone.
The organic farmers, as a result, if this did go through and they started to sell directly to a processor, what is going to be their options from then on in? Where can they go and sell their meat? Can they go to a livestock market like everybody else because they're organic?
No, at present standards, you cannot sell finished animals through a live market. It has to go direct for slaughter, minimising food miles and hopefully the stress on the animal with focus on animal welfare that organic farming has. Mm-hmm. So their choice is, if they've worked very hard to rear these animals under organic standards, if they want to maintain that standard, they have to go direct to an abattoir. Mm-hmm. If they then don't like the fact that they're being paid direct and want to go through a marketing group, then the choice of abattoir they can send to has been drastically cut back. Mm-hmm.
What about just for the landscape? What's going to happen? What do you think could happen without a producer group like yourself? What's going to happen to villages, communities, and the look of the landscape?
Well, from the look of the landscape aspect of it, organic is viewed as an environmental scheme. if the farmers have gone in with government incentive to farm organically, to improve the environment, and then there is no market for their livestock, the likelihood is they will revert back to conventional farming, putting on conventional fertilisers, using pesticides, herbicides, and that will have a knock-on effect on the wildlife generally. So it could have a massive impact on the bird populations and other aspects of the countryside. Sorry, I lost my thread.
No, that's fine. How about we'd like to support you in this? How do we do that? How do we get onto the website? What's your web address?
Right. To support us, what we need you to do is go to ethicalfoodforme.org.
Yes.
Go onto the petition side, click on sign the petition. Tell as many people as possible about this issue. It isn't just about affecting our business or our members. This is having a massive effect on the rural community as a whole that could dramatically change the look of the countryside over the coming years, and something that we actually want to maintain is a vibrant rural community where everybody can enjoy it.